Mastering the Law of Attraction, co-authored with Jack Canfield, and you can find that in bookstores everywhere. I love you, and I'm so glad you're here. So let's just get started.
All right, let's do it to it.
Awesome. So, Eva, was there ever a time when your business was in a really hard place or a desperate situation where you doubted things were going to turn around?
Let me count how many. Yeah, but there have been a lot. But there was one very particular time when years ago, the software company that my mate Robin and I ran were struggling to the point where we were laying off folks left and right. We couldn't meet payroll. We were just struggling. I don't know, I think maybe 5 years or so. We had spent a lot of that time looking for backers and venture capital to fund us. We had this awesome software program, but I don't care how awesome your product or programs are, cash is king. And without cash flow, you can have the greatest product or program and it's not going to help. And I just remember morale was so low. And in order to be able to at least, pay what we could to the skeleton crew that was left, Robin and I were going without paychecks much of the time. It was so bad. It was so ugly. I just remember we had creditors after us in the business. We had creditors after us personally. And we were stressed out. Of course, the employees were super stressed out. Our tension was high. And at the time, if our landlord, we couldn't pay our rent. If they had, God bless her, if she had kicked us out at that point, we would have had to just walk out and leave the furniture in the place. I mean, it was really, really awful. It was ugly. And what's interesting is this was right after I had stumbled across this universal principle called law of attraction, right? And I had been studying metaphysics for years, but I only got it intellectually. I really didn't know how do I apply this in my life until I ran across the Abraham Hicks website, and I've got to give them a plug. I always have to give them a plug. Abraham-hicks.com. Run, do not walk. I'm telling you, it was like when the message about law of attraction and the power of it was so crystal clear. And even though other books that I had been studying were really kind of talking about it, it was not. It was like the light bulbs came on, the fireworks went off, and I really, really got it. And I went, oh my God, what have I been doing here? If you think about, what I was doing with the law of attraction, I was totally in that business. I was totally focused on everything we didn't want more of, everything. I was like, what if we can't make payroll? What if we get evicted? All of those horrible, horrible things. And it's like the thoughts were the engine, but that emotion I was carrying was the fuel that was attracting even more of what I didn't want in my experience. And so, of course, because Robin and I were doing that, everybody in the company was doing that. Can I just stop a moment and just say what law of attraction is? I'm
I was going to ask you to describe that because there are probably some people listening who don't know or really understand it.
Yeah, I know. And I think, oh my gosh, somebody might be saying, what is that? So basically, the law of attraction, it's a universal principle. But the law of attraction says whatever you put your focus, attention, and emotion on, you will create more of in your life. And so where I put the emphasis, it's on the emotion. It is the emotion, that emotional charge that is creating more of what you want or don't want. Either way, it's always working, by the way. But whether it's working on what you want or what you don't want, that's what I had. That's what I realized, and I thought, oh my gosh. I haven't been walking my talk because it was like, I don't know, maybe a year or two earlier is when I finally ran across law of attraction. So we were already in the struggle, but I just remember using it for the small things. And then when something like this came up in the business, it was so big, it was like I threw everything out and I went right back to my old mode of operation. And I'm telling you, people who understand the law of attraction, you know what I'm talking about, okay? I mean, that's what we did. And so I just remember one night, I woke up at 3 a.m, and normally it's a panic attack at that time. And I just got this whole message saying, Eva, you're not walking your talk. And I was so like, just stop everything that you're doing, because all of it was from fear and anxious, frustration and all of that. And take this understanding of law of attraction into the company and just really focus on shifting the energy, starting with you. And I said, okay, because you know what? We had done everything else, right? There wasn't anything else. And so I felt like I had absolutely nothing to lose. So that's what I did. I went in and we talked about law of attraction. I introduced this whole principle to the company. We created a company-wide game with a huge prosperity account, right? Day one, we deposited $10,000 in that imaginary account, and we would have everybody would spend that $10,000 on what they would for the company that day. Then every day we would increase that by $1,000, right? So day two is what was they started at 10,000. Day two was 11,000, 12,000. So every day was 1,000 more. And the interesting thing about this is that unexpected thing was that everybody who had been prickly and kind of on our edge started really softening. They started being really generous with each other. And even though this was an imaginary account, it was like sales was buying things for the marketing department, marketing was buying things for the programming department, and it was just so funny because they started arguing about it. And I'm going, wait a minute, abundance abounds here. You guys, you can just spend on whatever you want. But the whole point of the game was to shift our focus on something that felt better than where it had been for a really long time. And it literally shifted the energy. That emotional charge I was talking about literally shifted that. And the thing about this is that the universe doesn't know if what we're focused on is real or imaginary, but it knows what we feel, right? And that's your vibration. It picks up on that. That's what you start, that's how you create whatever you're getting, right? And so the prosperity account really was just saying, hey, even though it's imaginary, we were feeling good. We were having fun. And it showed us that no matter what we did today, there's always more in the account the next day than there was the day before. And that, you know, the money was going to continue to flow, at least in this game. And it took our edge off. It took the focus off all of the fear and stuff that was going on with the company. And I just want to say, if you ever play this game, even if you started at $1,000 and you play for a year, you would have spent over $66 million in your mind. And when your focus is there and you're having fun, like we were, then even if it's imaginary, you are stretching your wealth mentality. It's a fun way to do it. If you got to have an exercise, it's an awesome way to do it. And then you will start attracting more in your life as a result of that. And I'll tell you, within 9 months of going through this process in the company, someone we'd never heard of approached us and said, we like your software. We want to buy you out, lock, stock, and barrel.
Wow.
And we literally went from living paycheck to paycheck when we got one to successfully selling the business for a very hefty sum of money. That is the power of law of attraction and where you're putting your focus. And, you know, we're saying, well, how does this have to do with business? Well, that was my business then. This has to do with your life, but man, especially in your businesses. And when you're finding yourselves in struggle or things like that, this is the first thing. This is the first thing I teach people before I ever get into any practical strategies around business, because you can have all of the best strategies and tactics for business. But if you are in this place of worry and fear and frustration or anger or whatever is going on, lack, scarcity, those things are not going to work. And then you're going to wonder why. And this is why this is so important to me.
Well, that's incredible. And I love the way that you made it a game, because a lot of times when you're in the thick of a situation like that, it's really hard for you to, it's like, okay, change my thought, change my emotion. And you're probably saying to yourself, how do I do this? Right. And I love that idea that, you know, it's going to work for you, even if you're pretending. It works.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things I say, you don't have to believe it, but you do have to feel like you have to, right. The emotions have to change for sure. You don't have to believe anything, but if you go, you have your fun and then you watch what shows up. Absolutely, it does. Absolutely.
All right. So now that everybody has an idea of what the law of attraction is, what does that have to do with tapping into your guidance?
Oh my goodness. Everything. Here's the thing. When you're focused on your emotions and how it feels, we call it emotional guidance. That's what Abraham calls it, Abraham Hicks. Your emotional guidance, that is your guidance at the most fundamental level. Because you'll know if something's feeling good, you can feel good that you're on the right track and that things are going to be working out for you. The minute things don't, that's when you need to stop and pay attention, because what happens is we will say, and this isn't working, so I'll try something else, and we're forcing it, and we're getting angry or more upset or more scared or whatever that emotion is. I call it pushing a wet noodle uphill going nowhere fast. It doesn't matter. All the action in the world is not going to help you if you don't stop and do what it takes to shift your emotion, because that's your guidance. You're moving against the direction that your guidance is calling you in. That's what's happening when it doesn't feel good. Okay. And that night when I got that hit at 3 a.m, that was guidance, right? It was like, wow, stop all the practice. Think about this is nuts. Stop all the practical stuff you're doing to try to get dollars in the door and capital and all of that, and go work on feeling better and shifting your energy. And that was totally my guidance. And again, I have to say, I just felt like I had nothing else to lose anyway. So, would I have followed it earlier? I couldn't even access it earlier. But that's guidance, and that's why you want to always get so sensitive about how you're feeling, because there's so many ways that we get guidance, but that emotional guidance to how you're feeling emotionally, boy, everybody can tap into that even before they understand other ways that they can get into their, get guidance.
Awesome. So I'm thinking about inner guidance, and there are maybe some people out there who are struggling in their business and they are not trusting themselves. How do they know when it's the real inner guidance guiding them, or whether they're being guided by a different voice?
Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples here. This is so good. But bottom line is, your guidance, for the most part, your guidance feels good. So let me just go through this. There's 3 things that gets in the way of guidance. One is that you're up in your head. All right, so you're leading your life from your head space and not your heart space. And that's where, we might get the feeling for something, but logically it makes more sense to do something else and we override it. This is where we were in the company. I mean, we were trying to solve those problems. We were in action. What do we got to do next? That didn't work. We had hired some consultants. We didn't have the money to do it. That wasn't working. We were up in our head. And none of it was feeling good. We were frantic. And finally, I'm telling you, for whatever reason, that night, listening to my guidance and trusting it. So here's the thing too, people get guidance and then they don't trust it. But then trusting it and taking that process into the company to shift the energy clearly paid off in a very big way. But if I had overridden that with logic, you'd say, are you kidding me? We need to be focused on how to get dollars in the door, not talking about how to make people feel better with an imaginary game at that, right? So that's the first thing. People are in their heads. The other thing is people are asking for help, and they're thinking it has to look a certain way. This will get in your way all the time, because if you're asking for help and you're expecting it to come a certain way and it doesn't. And I know people are probably so sick of me telling this story. It's such a good one. It's a whole joke about the flood in California, and the floods are rising, and a man's on the stoop of his house, and a man in a truck comes by and says, "Hop in, I'll save you." And he says, "No, I'm going to let God save me," right? And then the flood waters keep rising, and now he's in the 2nd floor of his house, and the boat comes by and says, "Hop in, we'll save you." And he says, I'm going to wait for God to save me." And then they rise, and now he's up on the top of his house, and a helicopter comes and drops down a rope and says, "Come on, climb up the rope. We're here to rescue you." And he wouldn't get in. He said, "I'm waiting for God. I've asked for help from God." And of course, then he drowns. And so now he's up there, and he says he's up in heaven. And he says, "Well, where did I go wrong? I had all this faith in you, and you let me down." And God says, "Well, what more do you want from me? I sent you a truck. I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter." That's what we do. That's what we do. And so it's like, God, wherever you're struggling in your own life, you might be being shown the way, but you're so fixated on your solutions or your answers looking a certain way that you can't see it or hear it even when it's being presented to you. That's number 2. Awesome. And then the big one, this is the biggest one, is you're listening, but you're not trusting. This is what I work with people on all the time. Trust. Mm-hmm. Trust. You're not trusting. And when you don't trust, then you don't act. You ignore what the answers are that you're getting. And which is another story that I love to tell about a client of mine who told me that she had successfully grown her company. She was at 7 figures. She decided she didn't want to do it alone anymore. She was going to bring in a business partner. Mm-hmm. She did all the right things. She did her due diligence. She hired the attorney. She drew up letters of intent. She worked with her business coach, which was not me at the time. She did everything she was very meticulous, and she did everything very slowly, very methodically, everything she was supposed to do. And she brought in this business partner. And I remember when we were talking, and she said, the whole time I just had this nagging feeling, this nagging feeling in the back of my mind. But because I was taking such meticulous care of the practical parts to make sure it was right, that she did not listen to what was her intuition. She didn't take the time to say, wait a minute, what is this? And of course, when she got ready to sell her business, unfortunately, due to some underhanded actions of her business partner, that company was worthless. And she thought she was about to sell it for, a good 7 figures. So, practically, anybody looking on the outside in would have said she did everything right. There was nothing she should have done differently. And yet it cost her her company. And then as we started to work together, and once again, trust is such a big thing for people to really latch onto. But she said, 10 minutes could have been a 7-figure success story instead of a 7-figure mistake. Mm-hmm. And it was so true. And of course, as painful as that was, she did finally learn to listen and trust. And she's fine. She's got a, wildly successful business today. But my point is even when you're being guided, if you don't trust it, then you don't act on it. And so this is the thing that's getting in the way here is your mindset. Mm-hmm. It's that limiting mindset. So you can, be tapped in and get information, and yet your limiting mindset's is holding you back, and it's not allowing you to actually move on the guidance that you're getting.
Awesome. So if there are people who are in that mindset and they're listening and they're getting some guidance and they're not trusting it, is there anything they can do to learn to trust better?
Absolutely. And by the way, these are the 2 key elements together. These are the 2 key elements: your mindset and guidance. Those 2 are the formula. That's 90%, or if not more, of your success will come from those 2 elements. That will transform your life and your business. We're talking business here, but it's affected in your life as well. So if we look at mindset from the perspective of law of attraction, mm-hmm. You have this is my mindset formula. Okay, so the formula, first of all, thought plus emotional charge plus action equals outcome. Okay, thought plus emotional charge plus action equals outcome. So if you have a thought or a belief, and then that thought or that belief creates an emotional charge or a feeling within you, one way or the other, then how you're feeling emotionally will determine the action you take or you don't take, which results in a certain outcome. So thought plus emotional charge plus action equals outcome. So that's why it's so important to get this. So if you are sitting there saying, I'm afraid I won't succeed, or what if I fail, then that thought is triggering an emotion. And clearly the emotion is one of fear or scarcity or lack. And now, as a result of that thought, that fear that you're feeling, any action you take, it's going to be as a result of coming from that fear, right? And that means that the outcome is not going to be what you want it to be. So even if you are, if you're not believing or you're in fear, it's like you'll procrastinate. Procrastination's a big one. You will turn things down even when they're being offered. A lot of times you're not even seeing them when they're right in front of you. And so in that case, your work doesn't get out in the world in the way that you want. And those who are looking for you can't find you. And this is a result of you maybe being guided, but as a result of that limited mindset, even when you are being guided, you play small, you hold back, and then you get small results. So one of the things that, so let me back up. So just making sure, understanding the law of attraction and how you're feeling, thoughts, emotions, and actions are got to be in alignment for you to get the outcome you want. And so it comes back to, how does something feel? Now, if you are struggling and it means that some part of that formula is out of whack. So one of the things that I do is I call it the what if up game. And this is how you will understand why you're doing it and how you can shift it. Okay, so we want to give that to you here. So if you were to list your thoughts or your beliefs that you hold around the topic of money, or marketing. I know that's another biggie. I hate marketing or sales. Those two topics. So if we have it around marketing or money, then you would have thoughts like, "It's so hard to make money," as an example. Here's one of my favorites: "You can't be spiritual and be wealthy," or "I'm no good at business," or another one I get is, "I can't charge a lot for what I offer and get it." Or "Sales and marketing are sleazy and manipulative," right? Or "What if I put myself out there and I get rejected?" So just think about the energy of those thoughts. And if you were to write down those thoughts, and then next to each of those thoughts, you identify what's the emotional charge that brought up in you. So it could be anger, it could be fear, it could be resignation, it could be frustration. It's all of those allowing you to find negative thoughts, or what those negative energies, or what those kinds of thoughts bring up. Now, let's say that that's what you're focused on. That's the emotional charge you have. Now, think about a decision you've made resulting in the actions you've taken in the past because of thoughts or feelings like that. Were they made from inspiration or disconnection, fear? So anytime you are, and this is why never make a decision from that place. Oh my goodness. When you're making decisions and you take actions from fear, you are not acting on your truth, you're not acting on your potential, and you're certainly not listening to your true guidance. So this is where you want to learn how to listen and then shift your mindset. Do a what if up game, which I haven't even told you yet. We just talked about this whole thing. Okay. It's like, wait a minute, we didn't even go through it. Okay. So let's do that now. But that's what's going on. So basically that's the what if down game, what I just talked to you about, right? It's those limiting thoughts. It's the beliefs that don't feel good. So the what if up game is super simple. You just shift it around. So you just turn things around. Every limiting thought or belief you think, the minute it comes up, you want to ask yourself, well, what if ... the opposite is true? What if it's really easy to make money? What if it's so easy to make money? Just how does that feel? And if it feels good, I want you to understand that's your truth. It's a limiting belief that it has to be hard. It doesn't mean that people don't experience it being hard, but it doesn't have to be. It's not a truth. And it doesn't have to be your truth. And when you feel that it feels better, that emotional relief is your guidance affirming that. That's how you know you're connected in your guidance. What if instead of "I'm not good at business," what if I am good at business? How does that feel? Or what if I can charge what I want to get? What if I can charge for the value I offer and get it? How does that feel? What if people are willing and eager to pay you what you're worth? What if sales and marketing could be authentic and in integrity? Ooh, there's a novel thought. It can. Or what if I put myself out there and I'm fully embraced? So does that making sense? It's just play with it. Again, it's keeping things light. This is the thing I have learned. Even when you're in the midst of craziness, if you can keep it light and make it a game, just like bringing that game into the software company, or just stopping in the moment and saying, wait a minute, what if I can? And feel it, because that feeling is telling you that, yes, absolutely, your guidance is telling you have everything within you to be able to do that. And I just want to say, please, please, please don't underestimate the power of this very seemingly simple game. I just want to challenge everyone to play the what if up game. Even as you're just going through your day, don't wait till things get so big and bad and hairy. You can't pull yourself out of the rabbit hole, because it's good to start practicing it, having fun with it now. And even with the lighter things, it will shift. It will shift the quality of what you're getting as a result. It'll shift the quality of your life.
All right, fantastic. Well, we're going to give them an opportunity to start playing this game right now, because as part of this series, we're doing a challenge from every speaker as well. So take this challenge on, you guys. Take Eva's recommendation for the what if up game. Think about a limiting belief that you have about something and turn it into a positive. And we have a Facebook group Eva. So we're asking everybody to go over there and share their results there, and
Ooh, fun. Okay.
we're doing some interaction and stuff over there. So yeah, you guys, when you get off here, play the what if up game with a limiting belief that you have, and then go over in our group and post and just share your experience. You don't have to tell us exactly what it was if you don't want to, but we encourage you to, because we're going to give you everything, all kinds of love and support there. So it's a safe space.
Oh, absolutely. Have fun with this. You'll love it. I'm telling you. Start with the easy things. Start with something easy, and then, because here's the thing that happens with that too, is when you start with easy things and you prove to yourself that it works, then when the bigger things happen, then you have a stronger trust muscle.
Mm, love it, love it, awesome. All right, great. Well, we'll look forward to that in the group. Let's see what time. Okay, we got a little bit more time here. Eva, what can you tell entrepreneurs who are struggling in their business right now?
Yeah, so you could be in really dire financial straits like we were. You could have way more bills than you have income like we were. You could have people pounding your doors down, the bill collectors. And one of the things to remember about all of this is that is what is. And I know it can feel really bad, but whatever is going on, it just is. It's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It really isn't. So our judgments is what creates that pain, right? And so that's the action journey. But remember the emotional guidance, and even tying it back into the what if up game, you could have a really, really desperate situation happening, and you could feel hopeful, or you could choose to feel fearful. And of course, our knee jerk reaction is to feel fearful. I know that. But you understanding this now, if you're willing to play it, you can then choose. I'm choosing to feel hopeful. And the difference between feeling fearful and feeling hopeful is the difference between things improving for you or not. So that's one thing. The other thing I want to say is, please make peace with wherever you are. It doesn't mean love it, but it's just, you've got to make peace with it, because the not making peace with it means you're in the emotional charge of something that you don't want. And so anytime you're feeling that despair or anything that doesn't feel good, and you just go back to what would feel better right now. One of the things I remember when all of that was going on in the software company, and there's lots of processes and all, and I couldn't even get to the processes. I just could not. It wasn't working. And I remember lying in bed just saying, I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. Dear God, I just want to feel good. And I just kept saying it until I felt that shift. And this is really it. And the moment that you feel that little bit of shift, then that means you can do it again and feel a little bit better. And you can do it again and feel a little bit better. And once you understand that you have the ability to do that, there's no place you can't go. You can't do it from a big quantum leap, right? But you can do it one step at a time. But it does start with, how do you want to feel in that emotional feeling, the charge that you have. Beyond all of the action steps that you can take, this is got to be first. It's got to be first. And when you make this your top priority, the rest of the stuff will work itself out. It will sort itself out.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so let's tell everybody about this special offer that you put together for us, called the Money Mindset Breakthrough.
Okay, all right. So Money Mindset Breakthrough. I'm pulling over my cheat sheet, guys. I'm just copping to it here. This is a 4-module program. It's all about shifting your mindset around money, and getting rid of all that negative talk that I've just talked about. How do you shift that? How do you shift your beliefs around it? How do you change your attitude? There's 4 modules. The first one is changing your freaking money story, right? So we've got to change a money story, and I'll take you through a whole awesome ways of doing that. And then you've changed your story, but you've still got the blocks. So how do you bust through your money blocks? Module 2 is all about busting through your money blocks.
Well, you can bust through the module too.
Yeah, totally. But then by then, now you're ready for loving your money, and really, I love this module. Well, the others are so important, but I love it because it's not like worshiping money, but really loving money, rather than feeling shame or guilt about having it or not having it. There's shame and guilt both ways. when it comes to money, which is really interesting. And then the fourth module is really letting go of the money stress. And this is where there's a little more practical things that you can do around getting through your money stress. And at the end of this, of course, finding that things actually can change. They really can. And once you get this, you've got it for a lifetime. And this is one of the things that I invite people to do is from time to time, or if something comes up around money, just go back, find the module. Once you've gone through it, you'll know, but find the module that, is jumping out at you at the time and just go back. So many great practices and processes to help you shift your money thing. Oh, by the way, you will also be getting, I forgot about this, you're going to be getting my Feel Good Guide to Prosperity bundle, which was my book, which was all about law of attraction, which also comes with the workbook, and it also comes with a 1-hour teleclass that goes with that, and my Magnetizing Money Home Study System. So again, everything supports what you're doing in the Winning Money Mindset, or the Money Mindset Breakthrough program.
Awesome. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is such an important area for people to address, because even if you understand the law of attraction, and like you said, you're starting to listen to your guidance, if you don't allow for that extra money to come in or really believe that it's coming, then the other stuff is not going to work until you address that part of it. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, and our guidance, that's our higher self, our true self, source energy. It wants us to experience that prosperity and abundance. It's always calling us to it. So just know that this is going to help you say yes to what you're being called towards. Okay.
Awesome. And we want you guys to say yes to what you're being called towards. And you can say yes to the Money Mindset Breakthrough by clicking the button right below this video right now. So click the button to take advantage of Eva's offer. And we hope to see you on the flip side and learn more about what you experience and what comes out of what you learn from that program. That would be awesome. So thank you so much, Eva, for putting that together for our audience.
My pleasure.
Awesome. So let's see, we've got a few minutes left. Is there another story you want to share, or some last piece of wisdom you'd like to share with our audience before we go?
I think let's going back to, if you're in a dire strait with things that aren't working out for you, that one of the things for you to do is find the things that you really love to do. Okay. Find 5 things that you really feel good when you do them. And then make sure you're doing them every day. And that might sound, once again, if you let your logic get in the way, hanging with your friends, seeing a funny movie, hanging out with your pet, whatever it is, nurturing yourself, do those things every day. The things that you truly appreciate, it will shift your energy, and it does it indirectly that way. So you're not hitting whatever your issue is head on. Sometimes this is so hard to do. That's one of the ways to do it. But anytime you're feeling that negative emotion, soothe your energy first. That's the thing. Go inward, soothe. And doing these 5 things is one way to do that as well.
All right, another fantastic tip. I love that you shared that. When I first met my husband's all about fun. He's this energetic guy. He wakes up in the morning just happy, and his goal is to do something fun every single day. So,
awesome, love him.
Yeah, so it's awesome that you shared that. That's incredible. So, all right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eva. This time has gone by so fast, but I so appreciate you coming on and sharing with our audience. And I was thrilled to be able to introduce you to them, and hopefully they will go ahead and click that button and go over there and go ahead and work with you further on breaking through their money problems or their money issues and rewriting their money story. I think that's incredible.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Awesome. And thank you guys for watching. We're here because of you, and everything that we're doing here is to help you become a more courageous leader, to help you step into your true power, and to help you, love your business, to run a profitable business and have a business that you love. So we appreciate you guys being here, and we hope you will join us next time. All right. Bye, everybody.